What if I told you that your soul doesn't just disappear when you die? What if, instead of ending, your consciousness begins the most important journey of your existence? Edgar Cayce, the man they called the Sleeping Prophet, revealed something that will shake everything you thought you knew about death. And what he discovered about the first 40 days after we die might be the most important thing you ever hear, because here's the truth. Death isn't the end, it's just the beginning. And those 40 days, they determine everything that comes next. So if you've ever lost someone you love, if you've ever wondered where they are now, if you've ever been afraid of what happens when your heart stops beating, stay with me. What you're about to discover will change you. The first moment, imagine this. Your body is cold. Your heart has stopped. The room around you falls silent. But here's what Edgar Cayce revealed. You don't disappear. Your awareness. It becomes sharper than it's ever been. You can see everything. The room, the people, your own body lying there, lifeless. You hear your loved ones crying. You feel their pain. You want to reach out, to tell them you're okay, to hold them one more time. But you can't. Your hand passes through theirs like smoke. And in that moment, you realize something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. You are no longer part of the physical world. This is what Cayce called the sacred transition, and it's just the beginning. In those first few minutes after death, your soul experiences something extraordinary. Time seems to stop. But awareness does not. You're in a strange limbo. You know you've separated from your body, but you haven't fully entered the spiritual world. Yet and then, it begins. Your entire life starts flashing before you. But this isn't like watching a movie. You don't just see what happened. You feel everything. Every moment. Every emotion. Every choice you made. You experience your life from everyone else's perspective, that person you helped when they were desperate. You feel their relief, their gratitude, as if it were your own. That person you hurt with your words. You feel their pain, exactly as they felt it. Every act of kindness, every moment of cruelty, every lie, every sacrifice, all of it comes flooding back with overwhelming clarity. And here's what Cayce emphasized. In this moment, you are not judged by God or by any external force. You judge yourself. Your higher self, the part of you that exists beyond ego and illusion, sees everything exactly as it was. And that realization, for some it brings peace. For others, it's absolutely terrifying. The days 1 to 3, the attachment. Now here's something that might surprise you. For the first 3 days after death, your soul doesn't go anywhere. It stays close to your physical body, not because it wants to, but because it must. Think of it like waking up from a deep sleep. It takes time for your soul to fully accept that it's no longer connected to the body. So you stay, you observe, you watch your own funeral, you hear every word spoken, you feel the emotions of everyone in the room. Some souls try desperately to communicate during these 3 days. They want to say goodbye. They want to comfort their loved ones. They want to explain that they're okay. But here's the heartbreaking truth. Most people can't hear them. Not with their ears anyway. Only the deeply intuitive, the emotionally connected, can sense their presence. Have you ever been at a funeral and suddenly felt a chill run through you? Or an overwhelming wave of emotion that seemed to come from nowhere? That wasn't your imagination. That was the soul making one last effort to reach you. Cayce said this happens all the time. The dead are there, watching, feeling, trying to connect. But the veil between worlds is thick. As those first 72 hours pass, something begins to shift. The soul feels a pull. A gentle but persistent force drawing it away from the physical world. And that's when they appear. The guides. These aren't strangers. They're familiar energies. Souls you've known in past lives. Higher beings you once connected with in spiritual realms. Their presence is calming, like a voice whispering in the darkness. You're not alone. We've been waiting for you. And with that reassurance, the soul begins its journey into the unknown. Days 4, 10, the intermediate plane. By the 4th day, something profound happens. You enter what Cayce called the intermediate plane, a dimension that exists between the earthly world and the higher spiritual realms. Now here's where it gets fascinating. This place isn't the same for everyone. The environment you find yourself in, it reflects your true spiritual state. If you lived a life of kindness, compassion, and growth, you might awaken in a peaceful, luminous place, beautiful beyond description. But if your life was driven by hatred, greed, or cruelty, you could find yourself in a place that mirrors those dark energies, not as punishment, but as reflection. The intermediate plane shows you exactly who you became, and Cayce emphasized this. These early days are not about heaven or hell, they're about be-awareness. The soul begins to understand itself in a way it never could while trapped in a physical body. All the illusions you lived with on earth, they peel away. You can't lie to yourself here. You can't blame others. You can't make excuses. You are face to face with your essence. For some souls, this is shocking. They see themselves clearly for the first time and can barely recognize what they've become. For others, it's liberating. The weight of false identity falls away, and they finally feel free. Between days 5 and 10, another transformation begins. You start encountering other spirits. Some are familiar, people you knew in life. Others are strangers, souls traveling their own spiritual paths. But here's what's incredible. Communication doesn't happen with words. It's pure telepathy, thought to thought, soul to soul. And in this realm, everything is energy. Your emotions, visible, your thoughts, they create your surroundings. If you carry guilt, it becomes part of your environment. If you carry love, it surrounds you like light. This is where many souls learn their first great lesson. Consciousness creates reality. What you think, what you feel, what you believe, it shapes the world around you. But Cayce warned of something important here. Some souls get stuck. They hold on to regret. They obsess over unfinished business. They refuse to forgive themselves or others. And these souls, they can remain in this intermediate plane for years, sometimes decades, trapped by their own unwillingness to let go. But for those who are ready to release, to forgive, to move forward, the journey continues. Days 11 to 20, the Hall of Records. Around day 11, you feel something pulling at you from deep within. It's not a sound, it's not a voice, it's a knowing, a calling. You're being drawn toward a place of profound learning. Cayce called this place the Hall of Records. Some call it the Temple of Learning. And according to Cayce, this isn't a myth. It's not a metaphor. It's a real place in the spiritual dimension. Here you meet beings of extraordinary wisdom, elders, teachers, guides who radiate compassion and power. They're not there to punish you. They're there to reveal. They show you visions, past lives, choices you made, opportunities you missed, strengths you never knew you had. You begin to understand why you were born, what you came to Earth to accomplish, what you actually achieved, and what still remains to be done. This isn't about making you feel guilty or ashamed. It's about helping you see the bigger picture, the divine design behind your existence. And here's what many souls realize in this moment. They need to go back. Cayce believed that many souls choose to reincarnate after this stage, not because they're forced to, but because they understand now. They see the lessons they failed to learn, the love they failed to give, the growth they failed to pursue, and they make a choice. I'm going back. I'm going to do better this time. But the journey isn't over yet. Days 21, 30, the great remembering. By the third week after death, something absolutely extraordinary unfolds. The soul, now more conscious of its essence and purpose, begins to remember. Not just the life it just left, but every life it's ever lived. The veil thins. Memories from previous incarnations rise to the surface. You see how every lifetime is interconnected. How a choice you made 500 years ago created ripples that reached into your most recent life. How the person who betrayed you in this life, you betrayed them 3 lifetimes ago. How the soulmate you found wasn't a coincidence. You've loved them across centuries. For some souls, this is overwhelming. They realize they've been repeating the same patterns, the same mistakes, the same lessons over and over again. For others, it's a moment of profound clarity. The puzzle pieces of existence finally fit together. There's a sense of divine design. Nothing was random. No relationship, no suffering, no joy. Everything had meaning. And for the first time, the soul sees the full arc of its evolution. Some feel deep peace. Others feel an urgent desire for redemption. Cayce said, "This is the point where many souls make a sacred vow. I will return, and I will make it right." Around day 30, the soul reaches a plateau. It's no longer lost, no longer searching, no longer confused. It feels ready, ready to move forward, ready to rise. But there's one last step, one final mirror to face. Cayce described it as the encounter with the higher self. This is the radiant divine version of you that has always existed beyond time, beyond death, beyond all your earthly identities. This isn't your ego. It isn't your personality or your memories. It's the purest expression of your soul's essence. And meeting it, it's not like looking into a reflection. It's like coming home. For some, this meeting is brief, a moment of recognition, and then it's done. For others, it's the most transformative experience in their entire spiritual existence. The higher self doesn't speak with words. It shows you who you truly are, not who you were on earth, but who you've always been. And then it gives you a choice. Stay in the spiritual realm and continue your learning and evolution. Or return to earth with a renewed mission, a clearer purpose. Cayce emphasized this above all. Nothing is forced. The soul always chooses. Days 31 to 40, the final transition. In the final days of the 40-day journey, most souls have made their decision. Those who choose to remain in the spiritual world often enter what Cayce called the soul group. This is your spiritual family, a community of souls who evolve together, lifetime after lifetime. You've known them before, you'll know them again. Some were your parents in past lives, some were your children, others were strangers who appeared at the exact moment you needed them most. It wasn't coincidence. It was design. The soul finally understands the ultimate truth. Love is the only currency of the universe. Everything else, power, success, wealth, status, even pain, all of it fades. But love remains. That love becomes the bridge to whatever comes next, whether that's rest, rebirth, or ascension to higher dimensions. It depends on the soul's evolution, but by day 40, the journey that began in silence and confusion ends in perfect clarity. The soul is no longer afraid, it's no longer alone. It knows. What this means for you now, here's the part that changes everything. Everything I just described. That journey your soul will take after death. It's being shaped by what you do right now. Cayce spent years warning humanity about this. Our experience after death is determined entirely by how we live today. If you ignore your soul, chase only material things, refuse to grow or reflect, you arrive on the other side unprepared, lost, confused, trapped in lower realms. But if you live with intention, if you seek spiritual growth, serve others, practice forgiveness, listen to your conscience, you awaken ready, ready to learn, ready to forgive, ready to rise. Every thought you think matters. Every act of kindness you perform matters. Every time you choose love over fear, forgiveness over anger, truth over deception, you're building your path. When you leave this world, and one day you will, you won't take your money. You won't take your house, your car, your titles, your achievements. You'll take only what you built inside your soul. That's what meets you in those first 40 days. That's what becomes your reality. So start preparing now, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Cayce believed this with every fiber of his being. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And the more you understand that truth, the less afraid you become of death, and the more fully you begin to live. So here's my question for you. What are you doing today that your soul will thank you for tomorrow? Think about that. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and if this message moved you, if it changed the way you see life and death, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe. Turn on notifications, because we're just getting started. Death is not the end, it's just the beginning of something far greater.